seated. Professor Philip L. Glick, Mace Bearer, Chair of the University Faculty Senate and Professor of Surgery and Management, will officially open the ceremony. Professor Glick.
Thank you, President Tripathi. The graduates, the candidates for degrees, the faculty, the staff, and the parents, families, and friends of the graduates and candidates are now assembled. I hereby declare that this commencement of the University of Buffalo to be open.
Thank you, Professor Glick. Good morning. My name is Charles Smith. I'm the holder of the Slee Chair of Music Theory here at UB, and in fact, I run the music theory program. It is my pleasure to take a few hours from grading exams on this gray and gloomy morning to welcome you to a much cheerier and more celebratory occasion. It is my pleasure on behalf of the University at Buffalo community to welcome you to this College of Arts and Sciences undergraduate commencement ceremony. Those of you who are veterans of commencements will recognize that we've actually split the service into two. This morning we are having a commencement ceremony for students in arts, natural science and mathematics, and interdisciplinary programs. This is indeed a very special day for our graduates and for our entire university. Each spring, the university's faculty, staff, and students look forward to celebrating the accomplishments and great promise of our graduating students as they prepare to embark on the exciting academic and professional paths that their UB education has prepared them to pursue. Over 700 degree candidates registered to participate in today's ceremony. Your enthusiasm has brought an equally enthusiastic response from your families and friends. We are so very pleased that you could all join us today for this special campus celebration. We invite you now to join in the singing of our national anthem to be performed by Leah Burst and Thomas McDonnell, who are both graduating today with Bachelor of Fine Arts in Music Theater. Accompanying them on the piano will be music theory lecturer Allison D'Amato. Please stand. Please stand, and gentlemen, remove your caps.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you very much, Leah, Thomas, and Allison. We are honored to be joined on the platform by our featured speakers, from whom you will hear shortly. Many UB faculty and staff members are participating in this morning's ceremony. They share our great pride in the class of 2017, and they represent the greatest asset that we offer to our students. Please join me in thanking our faculty and staff for their outstanding work and their commitment to the university community. It is now my great pleasure to present the President of the University at Buffalo, Satish K. Tripathi, who will then be followed by Robin Schulze, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences.
Good morning. First, I would like to offer a warm welcome to the parents and family members joining us. As we honor our graduates today, we also honor your support and guidance, which have helped our students reach this milestone. Most of all, we are here to celebrate you, the College of Arts and Sciences undergraduate class of 2017. Congratulations. Reaching this milestone is a great personal achievement, but your graduation is deeply meaningful in a public sense as well. As UB graduate, what you have learned and discovered here and what you will do with this knowledge has tremendous significance for the communities that you are part of. These communities begin with your own circle of family and friends and extend to your neighborhood, your nation, and the global community. These aren't separate spheres, they're closely connected. You are graduating into a world where the local and the global, the personal and the public increasingly intersect. What happens in the arena of world affairs affects us on a daily basis. The challenges we face personally and as a society have no borders, from medical and public health threats to economic and educational problems to environmental concerns impacting the future of our planet. These problems are multifaceted and complex, spanning the globe and cutting across the wide range of disciplines, fields, institutions, and communities. So now more than ever, we need ideas, solutions, innovations, and collaborations that transcend borders of all kinds: geographic, cultural, disciplinary, and ideological. We need globally minded citizens who are ready to come together to tackle these challenges. We need thoughtful, knowledgeable leaders who bring both proven experience and an open mind to the forefront. We need pioneering problem solvers who reach beyond their immediate frame of reference to embrace and learn from many different points of view. And that is where you come in. Your UB education has prepared you for exactly this kind of engaged global leadership. It has prepared you to engage with and empathize with others, to recognize our shared humanity and common concerns despite cultural and geographical differences. It has emphasized the importance of building bridges across borders to solve challenges that transcend borders. UB, as a large internationalized university whose members come from all over the world, mirrors the complexity of the world around us through our ideological and cultural diversity. And as a core element of our mission as a public research university, we are committed to ensuring that our ideas and discoveries make the world around us a better place, from our local neighborhoods to our global community. As citizens, you are perhaps the most powerful embodiment of our university's mission. As UB students, you have already begun responding to global challenges, working directly with faculty and scholars who are leading the conversation in and beyond their fields. You have contributed to solutions and discoveries that change how the world approaches threats of public health, social justice, and the environment. You and your fellow UB graduates have already had a powerful global impact. You have demonstrated this by exploring nature at a microscopic level, designing social media campaigns for nonprofit agencies, and working alongside faculty on innovative research in chemistry, physics, and other areas. Now, as UB graduates, you are part of a long-standing UB tradition, joining a global network of more than 250,000 alumni in nearly 150 countries around the world, all dedicated to using their UB education to make a difference in the world. The challenges you will be called on to address reflect universal concern facing humanity in every community around the globe. And the communities you are part of here and beyond will surely be richer for your contributions and insights. Class of 2017, we can't wait to see how you will use your UB education to make a difference in the world. Congratulations on your great achievement and all best wishes on the road ahead.
Thank you, President Tripathi. Congratulations, class of 2017. Woo! You are special. The fact that you are sitting here means that you have done everything right. You are graduates of a first-class, world-class research institution, and I am very proud of you and everything that you have achieved at UB. Woo! As you head out into your amazing futures, I want to let you in on a little secret. You are all really superheroes. No, really, you know, the tights, the boots, the big letters, the wristlets, the tiaras. Oh, sure, you don't know it yet, but you are. And today we even have capes. What I really mean to say is that you have absolutely no idea right now just how much you've learned here. Oh, sure, you've passed your exams and read your books and done your problem sets and written your papers and completed your experiments. You've acquired a vast amount of content knowledge and a host of skills, but the depth of what you have learned is going to sneak up on you, and it's going to amaze you. In this great college, you have learned how to learn. That is your principal superpower. You've learned how to be resilient, determined, and, like the buffalo on our seal, amazingly hard to get rid of. You have learned how to be the person in the room who steps up, the person in the room who knows how to find things out, the person in the room to whom others turn for answers and advice, the person in the room who, when knocked down, gets up, brushes off, and tries again and again and again, because that's who we are at UB. You have learned to be the person who cares about knowledge and science and art and culture, who knows how to do the research that determines what is true and what is not, and that is truly a superpower. You will be the informed global citizen who creates the future, whether you know it or not. UB is your radioactive spider, your cosmic rays, your happy mutation, and the place will figure large in your origin story. You've learned how to do all this here in this great college at this great university, and you are taking it all with you. And when you come to understand all of what this place has given you, I want you to remember how proud we are to have you as our graduates. And now it is my great privilege to introduce you to this year's alumni speaker, Peter Kadzik. Peter graduated summa cum laude from UB, earning a bachelor's degree in political science in 1974. He's also Phi Beta Kappa. He went on to receive his law degree from Georgetown University Law Center in 1977, and later clerked for the Honorable Thomas A. Flannery of the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. He served as an assistant U.S. attorney in the District of Columbia before moving into private practice. In 2013, he returned to government service when President Obama appointed Peter Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legislative Affairs at the Department of Justice. He served in this position until President Obama left office in January 2017. Peter bleeds blue and white, and I'm very happy to have him back to our campus as our distinguished alumni speaker. Welcome, Peter Kadzik.
Thank you, Dean Schulze, for that kind introduction, and many thanks to President Tripathi and Dean Schulze for all their extraordinary efforts in leading this university forward. After serving for the last 4 years as the Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legislative Affairs, usually when I'm in front of an audience, it's a congressional committee that's not happy with something that the Obama Justice Department had done. So I'm not used to this warm of a welcome. But having spent the last 4 years in public service and having been involved in politics for the last 30 years, I'm frequently asked two questions. What happened in the last election? And why is Washington so dysfunctional? And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because you graduates, whatever you go on to do next and wherever you live, you can play a significant role in fixing what's broken. But before I do, let me say it's great to be back at the university. But I have to tell you that this campus is not the one that I attended, and I attended the South Campus, which did not really have many of the amenities that you enjoy today. One of the key benefits of the South Campus, however, was that the closest bar was called the library. Thus, every week I could tell my parents, with all honesty, that I had spent a great deal of time in the library. In my defense, I also spent a good deal of time at Lockwood Library because I considered it a privilege to be going to the university. All 4 of my grandparents were immigrants from Poland, and they worked hard so that my parents could graduate from high school. And my parents worked hard so that my brother and I could attend college and graduate school. I was the beneficiary of the American dream, and I did not want to squander the tremendous opportunity that was provided to me. While I learned a great deal at both libraries, it was my coursework at UB that prepared me for Georgetown Law School, and the spirit of participation and activism which permeated the UB campus, from the protests against the Vietnam War to working on local political campaigns to tutoring inner city kids, that led me to both law and politics. Following my formative years at UB, I decided to attend Georgetown Law in Washington, D.C., because it was at the epicenter of law and politics. It was the summer of 1974. President Nixon had just resigned. The Senate Watergate Committee was conducting hearings on Capitol Hill, and the so-called plumbers were being tried in the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. for the Watergate break-in. It was the perfect storm in D.C., which made it the perfect time and the perfect place for law school. I credit how well prepared I felt due to the excellent education I had received at UB. This school truly set the stage for the rest of my career. Obviously, the political science courses I had taken here, particularly American politics with Professor Stimson, explored the issues of elections in a democracy. And I was witnessing firsthand how that process had been corrupted. But my other courses provided me with a different lens through which I could analyze the crisis which faced this country. Whether it was philosophy, English, mathematics, literature, sociology, or psychology, all of my professors taught me to think critically and emphasize the need to examine a text, a theory, or a political proposition in an analytical manner so as to gauge an idea's true worth. There really is no course or major that can prepare you to go to law school, or for most graduate schools, or for most jobs. No, what prepares you is the ability to analyze a situation or a proposition, and I'm here to tell you that as soon-to-be graduates of UB, you have that ability. After a judicial clerkship and serving as an assistant U.S. attorney, my career then took an unusual but incredibly impactful turn when I went to work on Senator Ted Kennedy's presidential campaign in 1980. He didn't win, and the fact that you don't always win is a very good lesson to learn if you're going to go into politics, but it certainly whetted my thirst for politics, which I was first exposed to here at UB. Throughout my legal career, I remained active in politics and worked on every presidential campaign for the next 32 years. Having operated at the intersection of law and politics for all those years, and having seen light at the end of the tuition tunnel as my children graduated from college and graduate school, something I'm sure your proud parents and family members here today appreciate all too well, I was humbled and honored to be nominated by President Obama and confirmed by the United States Senate to serve as the Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Legislative Affairs. Once again, it was the perfect time and the perfect place, as the department defended the President's executive orders on immigration, Obamacare, and the investigations resulting from the financial crisis. And I feel extremely grateful for having had the opportunity to serve at such an important time for the Department of Justice and this country. So back to those questions. What happened in the last election? Why is Washington so dysfunctional? Regardless of the political persuasion of the person making the inquiry, my response is always the same. As Winston Churchill said, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government, except for all others that have been tried. Yes, democracy is messy, but I'm confident that our republic will not only survive, but will thrive as a result of the challenges we routinely face. Our founders appreciated the fact that there would be contentious political issues and partisan disputes, so they designed a system of government with the checks and balances contained in our Constitution. But the most important of those checks and balances is democracy itself, our system of free elections. As Thomas Paine said, the right of voting for representatives is the primary right by which all other rights are protected. However, this most important safeguard only protects our republic when people actually vote, which, at best, half of eligible voters don't do. And more importantly, people vote in an informed manner, when all citizens participate and exercise critical thinking. First and foremost, each and every citizen must register and vote. Democracy only works when citizens participate, and throughout the course of our nation's history, this country rightly continued to expand voting rights. The original restrictions on voting rights limited voting to white male landowners. Over the course of the next 20 years, we expanded the right to vote to women because of the long overdue recognition of gender equality, to people of color because of the burgeoning movement to end racial discrimination, from 21-year-olds to 18-year-olds, because if you are old enough to fight for this country, you should have the right to vote for the leaders who made that decision. Recently, arduous and unnecessary voter identification laws have been passed in more than a dozen states, and they threaten to disenfranchise a large segment of minority populations for no compelling reason. When challenged in court, the state of Indiana could not point to a single documented instance of voter impersonation in its history. I've seen the negative effects of these requirements firsthand. In my legal practice, I represented a voter registration group that assisted citizens in registering and voting. We learned of a situation in which an elderly African-American woman living on a small Social Security check would have to spend more than $75 to get the birth certificate she needed in order to obtain the approved identification necessary to vote. That really amounts to what Congressman John Lewis has called a poll tax, and such taxes were outlawed long ago for sound and just reasons. Similarly, reductions in the number of polling places, in early voting, and in absentee voting can adversely impact segments of our population. Rather than limiting the availability of the ballot box, we need to expand opportunities for every American to participate in the political process. In one common sense and straightforward example, we should urge states to implement early voting at night and on the weekends to allow working people, parents, and those who cannot, for whatever reason, get to their voting place on Election Day. The ability to exercise their constitutional right to vote is critical to our democracy and democratic countries across the globe. And other countries have enacted such measures in order to ensure full participation, because that's what makes a democracy more vibrant, and it also makes elected officials more reflective of the people they represent. Once we open the process to all and remove barriers to participation, we need to do a better job of educating our voters. As Thomas Jefferson said, whenever the people are well informed, they can be trusted with their own government. It can be challenging to be well informed these days. Today we live in a society that's battered not only by fake news, but also by blogs and so-called opinion columns that are not based on ascertainable facts. We also have politicians, public figures, and talking heads who routinely need to be fact-checked to ascertain the veracity of their statements. Learning to sift through the endless chatter to discern real facts from fiction is not an easy process, particularly on the internet, but it is absolutely critical. I helped form and have worked for many years with a nonprofit, nonpartisan group called the News Literacy Project. It was started by a Pulitzer Prize-winning former journalist, and they've developed a curriculum for high school and middle school students, as well as a virtual classroom aptly named Checkology that gives educators and students the tools they need to learn how to consume news and sort fact from fiction in the digital age. First-rate journalists and guest lecturers and arm these students with the necessary skills to be their own fact-checkers. The scope of this project is also expanding through Facebook and other key partnerships in order to provide the ability to engage in critical thinking to the entire population. Critical thinking has been at the heart of your education here at the University of Buffalo, and I urge you today to take that invaluable skill with you as you leave this university and move forward in your careers, no matter what field you choose or where you live. That critical thinking, matched with the spirit of participation that permeates this campus, is essential to maintaining our vibrant democracy and the checks and balances of our Constitution. Critical thinking and participation are essential to any political system. Once an election is over, a citizen's obligation to participate in the political process doesn't end. While at the university, you participate in student government, activities, clubs, fraternities and sororities, and athletics. These activities form the heart of the campus and the university's culture. Similarly, advocacy groups, town halls, community political groups are avenues for participation in the democratic process and form the heart of our communities. Once an elected official is elected, he or she must be responsive to his or her constituents, all of the constituents, not just those who voted for him or her. A 51% vote does not entitle the majority party to ignore the rights, needs, and interests of members of the minority party. It is the responsibility of elected officials to reach compromises that ensure all viewpoints are considered when an issue is decided. It used to be that legislators on both sides of the aisle routinely worked together to reach the right result. Times have changed, and now we see politicians of both parties taking highly partisan, unwavering positions that prevent them from working together for the greater good. The hard lines recently drawn over the Garland and Gorsuch Supreme Court nominations illustrate this problem. A very different approach was entirely possible in both cases, and in fact prevailed some 35 years ago. In 1980, President Reagan won by a landslide, and the Democrats lost the Senate. Now Justice Stephen Breyer was then a staffer on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which was chaired at the time by Senator Ted Kennedy. Kennedy had challenged Carter for the nomination, but lost. Nonetheless, two remarkable things occurred. First, Kennedy called a senior advisor to President Carter and asked Breyer to be nominated to the First Circuit Court of Appeals. The advisor's initial reaction was Carter was unlikely to be inclined to do anything for Kennedy. And the advisor also noted that the Republicans were unlikely to want to confirm a Democrat to the prestigious First Circuit now that they would take over the Senate in January. Kennedy told the advisor to convince Carter, and Kennedy would deal with the Republicans. The end result was Breyer was nominated in November and confirmed in December. Imagine that. An eminently qualified jurist took the bench without partisan rancor. These type of events can still happen today. There can be common ground, there can be compromise, but we must demand it. You as a voter and as an engaged citizen must continue to remain active in issues that concern you, no matter where you live or work. You must demand that your elected representatives take account of all citizens. Voting in elections is not enough. Democracy demands wisdom, vision, and participation by its citizens. I have enormous faith in each one of you, and I know that our republic and other democracies around the world will not just survive, but thrive if you take the knowledge and call to action that you learned on this campus and apply them to the political system. And as a fellow alum, I look forward to watching the remarkable things you will accomplish as we all continue to fight the good fight in this great country and throughout the world. I wish you the very best. Congratulations, good luck, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kadzik. Today, we wish to acknowledge exceptional graduating students who have recently received the State University of New York's Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence. The recipients, nominated by the individual SUNY campuses, have demonstrated outstanding academic achievement and have received national or international recognition for their efforts. Recently, these students attended a reception hosted by SUNY Chancellor Nancy Zimpher in Albany. At that time, they were all presented with their awards. 4 of these students are graduating here in this morning's ceremony. Would the students who are present please stand to be acknowledged as I call your name? Audience, please hold your applause until I've read all of the names. First is Hannah L. Griffith. Is Hannah here? Then Anne Giacchino, please stand. Barrett Kemp. There's Barrett. Okay. And Jacob Shupak. Ladies and gentlemen, Chancellor's Award for Student Excellence. Congratulations, students. Please take your seats. This morning, we have the pleasure of recognizing another group of student award recipients. Departments within the College of Arts and Sciences have selected graduates to be honored with the Outstanding Academic Achievement Award. Presenting these awards is Dean Schulze.
I would like to ask President Tripathi and Associate Deans Charles Mitchell and Claire Shen to please assist me with the presentation of these awards. At this time, I would like to ask the group of outstanding seniors to please stand and come forward. The undergraduate years are very special and involve rich and varied experiences. As a public research university, UB's guiding mission is the pursuit of academic excellence. The students we are about to honor have not only been exemplars of academic achievement, they have also been active in and dedicated to service at the university and in the community. A short biographical note on each of the students honored today is printed in the commencement program. Some of the students are part of this afternoon's Humanities and Social Sciences commencement. All of today's honorees have outstanding grade point averages. Many are honor students and members of Phi Beta Kappa, as well as other honor societies. They have superb scholastic records and have successfully completed challenging undergraduate research projects. In addition to their academic accomplishments, these students have earned the admiration of their departments. Being an outstanding senior is more than an honorific on this campus. During their time at UB, these students have demonstrated their tenacity and set examples for their peers. We are extremely proud of these students' achievements, and now let me introduce the outstanding seniors who are part of this morning's ceremony by department, and please do hold your applause until I introduce them all. Jacob P. Schuback, Art. Alexa Bracci, Biological Sciences. Gregory George, Chemistry. Hannah C. Anderson, Environmental Geosciences. Megan C. Cochran, Geology. Sergio E. Garcia Tapia, Mathematics. Nathan M. Novarita, Media Study. Jenna S. Cunningham, Music. Kenneth L. Budzinski, Physics. Clarissa Cardarelli, Social Sciences Interdisciplinary. And Haley D. Bjorn, Theater and Dance. Congratulations to our outstanding seniors. Next, I have the pleasure of introducing our student speaker, Eileen Bennett of Clarence, New York. Eileen graduates today summa cum laude with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and a concentration in Actuarial Sciences. Eileen is a recipient of the UB Presidential Scholarship and a member of Phi Beta Kappa. After graduation, she will be moving to Seattle, Washington to start her career as an actuarial analyst with Milliman, among the world's largest providers of actuarial products and services. It is my sincere pleasure to welcome our student commencement speaker for this morning's ceremony, Eileen Bennett.
Thank you, Dean Schultze, and thank you everyone for being here today. There's this song lyric by the Avett Brothers that goes, "Decide what to be and go be it." I love this line partially for its simplicity. It sounds so easy, and it quickly became my mantra for my 4 years at UB. However, I prefer to think of the line not so much as decide what to be, but decide who to be. Once you decide who you want to be, the what will follow. When I started out my undergrad 4 years ago, I knew what I wanted to be, but I hadn't quite figured out the who. I have become many things in my time here: a student, a teacher, a mathematician and economist, and soon, a graduate. I'm still not completely sure who I am or who I'm going to become, but I think that I'm a little closer. I've truly learned a lot here. I've learned how to use a Z-chart in about 10 separate classes. I've learned how to do calculus, and I've learned how to do statistical methods. But I've also learned other things I was never given a grade on. I've learned when to speak up and when not to. I've learned how to support my friends when they need it. I've learned that sometimes it's okay to cry in the middle of the library. I've learned how to connect across both language and culture barriers. I've learned to accept the intrinsic goodness and uniqueness of everyone around me. During my time at UB, I've met so many wonderful people from all walks of life, and through them, I've become a better and more open person. When I started my life here, I didn't know the possibilities of who I could become, but after spending 4 years surrounded by so many people with so many different stories, I've gotten a better idea of it. We actively choose who we want to be every day. Today, as I graduate, I've answered the question of what I want to be, but I think the more difficult decision will be who I want to be. I want to be compassionate. I want to be fearless. I want to be a leader, and I want to be a follower. I want to be accepting and open to those different from me, but also intolerant to injustice. I want to bring change to our world in any way that I can. We're not always going to get to decide what we are. I've accepted that I'm never going to be in the NFL. But we do get to decide who we are. Today, we graduate. Today, we get to start making a whole new set of choices. So let's all resolve to be our very best self, and everything else will follow. Decide who to be and go be it. Thank you.
Wonderful. The competition for the commencement student speaker was open to all graduating seniors in the College of Arts and Sciences. A committee comprised of faculty, staff, and a student representative selected the student speaker. Ms. Bennett will be receiving a 2017 class ring provided by Jostens and the University at Buffalo. And on behalf of the College of Arts and Sciences, Eileen, we wish you the very best. Congratulations. Okay, another treat. This year, for the first time, the College of Arts and Sciences asked graduating students to vote for a faculty speaker. Students could select any member of the faculty from whom they wanted to hear a parting message. Hundreds of votes were cast, and some students even orchestrated social media campaigns for their choices. From this process, 2 professors emerged who clearly had an impact on many of our students. And it is my sincere pleasure to introduce our inaugural faculty speaker for this morning's ceremony, Jessica Poulin. Yeah! Jessica received her doctorate, from the University of California, Irvine in 2005. Since joining UB, she has developed a passion for teaching and engaging students in the study of biology. Her research has shifted from studying evolution of invasive wild plants to university-level science education and developing more effective biology curricula. No one can deny Jessica's dedication to student success, and her selfless commitment serves as an example to all on our campus. I am proud to welcome your choice for the college's first faculty speaker, Jessica Poulin.
I would really like to start by thanking you all for inviting me to speak today, for voting for me, and to represent you as you graduate from the University at Buffalo. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Jessica Poulin, and I'm part of the Department of Biological Sciences, where I both teach and coordinate the first biological sciences class that all bio majors and many STEM majors students take when they arrive for their very first fall term here at UB. I'm also the director of our departmental honors program, and I teach several 400-level biology classes, which is all work that is focused on the spring term. So this portfolio of positions in biological sciences means that I spend a lot of time with first-year students in the fall, and then I get a chance to focus on our upperclassmen in the spring. And seeing that arc of student progress across the school year is truly one of the best parts of my job. When Dean Schulze wrote to me to tell me about the new student-selected faculty speaker role for commencement, I have to admit I hadn't even heard about this new part of our graduation ceremony. So the dean's letter explained that all students who had registered for commencement had been asked to vote for the faculty member who made the greatest impact on their education and future, who had been their most influential mentor and guide. To hear that so many of you voted for me is honestly one of the greatest honors that I have ever received. And so I would like to open my remarks by giving you all an enormous thank you. Yes. I also want all of you to know that teaching here at UB is the fulfillment of all of my dreams for my career. Each day, I get to interact with many students who tell me about their own dreams and passions and plans, students who tell me about their fears and their troubles, students who send me countless news articles related to evolution and ecology and weird animals and plants, which you know I love. Your enthusiasm for learning, your dedication to study, your sense of responsibility to your futures is an inspiration to me each and every day that I arrive at work here at UB. As I worked on the speech for today, I tried to think about a story of a student that might provide you with the same level of inspiration that their path here at UB had provided to me. It was a hard task, and it took several days to come up with a person, not because I couldn't think of examples, but because I had too many. Still, I think I might have landed on the right one. Today, I would like to tell you about Janelle. Janelle was a first-year student in my section of Bio 200. She had always wanted to be a doctor, and she was very excited to be starting on that path. Bio 200 was honestly a big and somewhat overwhelming course, but she liked the content and she was really enjoying the lab. And then came exam 1. During the test, even though she felt on top of the material, Janelle was confused by the questions. She couldn't make sense of them and got more and more panicked as time passed. When I called time, she hadn't even answered 9 of the 30 questions. She turned in her Scantron with tears in her eyes. Janelle and I met a couple days later, and the very first thing she said to me was that she had decided to resign from my course, that biology clearly wasn't for her, and that she was going to give up on a career in medicine. Yet it was quickly clear to me in my office that Janelle did understand the material, just not the test. She kept saying that the words on the exam didn't make sense. I asked her if this had ever happened to her before, and she said no, but that she was a very slow reader and she didn't enjoy reading. It was at that moment that I asked Janelle if she'd ever been evaluated for a learning disability. She was shocked, but she hadn't, and so I asked her to go to our Office of Accessibility Resources, where she was diagnosed and given accommodations to help with reading, especially in testing conditions. Janelle and I met often during the rest of that semester, especially right after the diagnosis. I wasn't sure that she was going to stay in the class. She told me that she was afraid that she could never make it, trying to manage the new material and the new learning disability. I remember one very particular office hour when she told me that college just felt too hard. Yet she stayed. She kept coming to office hours. She kept doing well in lab. She really worked on using the accommodations to read better. She worked and worked and worked. Janelle was well above the class average on the second exam. I saw her after and I asked her how she felt. Dr. Poulin, she said, "I feel exhausted." But it might have been worth it. The term continued, and Janelle took the final and scored in the top 10% of the 441 students taking the class that term. She ended up with a B+ in Bio 200, a very hard-won B+, I might add. I never had Janelle in another class, but she kept in touch, She was a student athlete, and the combination of her athletics and her scholarship led her away from medical school to pursue her newfound passion of sports medicine with a focus on physical therapy. We met for tea at the end of her senior year, and she told me that the tests hadn't gotten much easier, but that she'd learned since her first year how to tackle them, and most of the time, she did okay. I think she was selling herself short, because Janelle graduated last spring with a 3.7 GPA and a degree in biological sciences. She is right now pursuing her Doctor of Physical Therapy degree, and I am certain she is still working hard, and I am certain that she will be extremely successful. During that last meeting over Tim Hortons tea, I reminded Janelle of the exam, where she said she was exhausted, but that it may have been worth it. She laughed. She told me she still felt exhausted, even more exhausted, but that she knew it was worth it now. At the end of the day, I am, of course, impressed by Janelle's intelligence, but I am inspired by her exhaustion. I'm inspired by her willingness to get up every day and do what needs to be done to succeed. I'm inspired by the example she sets for students and athletes that will follow her, both at UB and her future patients. And here is why being at UB is my dream job. I have the pleasure of getting to work with people who put their dreams first, no matter what it takes, every single day. That's you. You asked me to speak today because you claim I have inspired you, but I want to make certain that you leave here knowing that the wonder of your college education is not about the people who have delivered the material or even the guidance along the way, but instead, it is about the students who receive and turn what they have learned into new knowledge and new opportunities. I want you to leave today knowing, realizing that in big and small ways, you are all Janelle's. How do I know? Because you're here at this commencement. You persevered as each of you, every one of you, had troubles to surmount, challenges to face. You came to college, and each of you has triumphed in your own way. And I hope that you are all sitting there knowing that it was worth it now. This ceremony is about passing a torch. Yes, we here at the university know a lot, and goodness knows, many of us can talk about what we know for a very long time. But today, we acknowledge that it is you that are going to take that knowledge and make it grow. It is you who will make the future for us in Western New York, in all of America, and truthfully, all over the world. You inspire me each and every day because I see the future in you, and you give me great hope that the future is in very safe hands. And so, as you go forth, I ask you to carry with you the congratulations of this day, the hope and joy and promise of dreams fulfilled and of untold futures about to unfold. I would like you all to remember that you have inspired me and all the professors who have worked with you during your college careers. I also ask you to leave here knowing that your inspiration of us has led to expectations. Yes, we expect that you will leave here and you will make a difference in the world. We expect that because you have already made a difference here at UB. Those of you who know me are not going to be surprised that I'm choosing to leave you with a slight twist on a quote from one of my very favorite books. I think we can expect great things from you, University at Buffalo class of 2017. Yes, great things. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Just fabulous. Would President Tripathi please come to the center lectern?